So
Afternoon.
let's give it a couple more minutes and wait for a few more people. We definitely have quorum. Michael isn't going to be here today, so he asked me to take over as chair. So we'll just give it 1 or 2 more minutes. Yes, Harold?
This is Nate. He's beside me.
Hi, guys.
He's the new member of the board. He was having trouble. He couldn't get on today. So he's with me. And so if you see 2 hands going up or 2 hands going down, that's because there's 2 of us. And I don't know how you record that, but
Well, your camera's doing a really good job there, panning back and forth, so I think we'll be all right.
Welcome to our new members. You guys look great.
yeah, it's young blood.
I know, I
think
love it.
Beside me, I'm glad we're getting some young blood in this place. Speak for myself, by the way.
Gary, I'm taking a call from my car. I'm going to a Chamber of Commerce event that starts at 5 o'clock. So I have to leave at 5. I apologize, but if we're not finished, I'm off. And I know Melanie's coming to the same event, so she's going to be rushing.
Is this the women's event?
Exactly.
Right. My wife is going to it as well.
Yeah.
So Melanie, you're leaving us too? At what time?
Chair, I'll be on till the end of the meeting. Don't worry about me.
Okay. So just give is everyone, who are we missing him? Josiah? He's here?
He's here.
Nate, Jane?
Michael?
No, Michael's not showing up.
Okay.
Can't make it. Okay, I guess that's everyone then, eh? I know we have quorum. Yeah, so I'd like to call the meeting to order at 4 p.m. on the dot. So we're pleased to have 3 new committee members with us, as you all know. We'd like to formally and officially welcome you to the Heritage Advisory Committee. I'd like to start this meeting by inviting each committee member, current and newly appointed, to introduce themselves when I call your name. So I'll start with me. My name is Gary Lammers, and I am still fairly new to this. I think I've only been here like 6 or 7 months. So that's me. Michael, again, can't be here today, but he's the chair of this committee. And then we have Councillor Torrance.
So I'm Jane Torrance. Hey, I live in Almont on Mary Street in a 1880s mill workers type of house. This is my first time serving on the Heritage Committee. I joined at the beginning of this term of council, and I'm loving it. I'm learning so much about the process of heritage, and really it's a new topic to me, and I'm really enjoying being part of this committee, and I'm like learning from other people.
Thanks, Councillor Torrance. And next is Janet Carlisle.
Thanks, Chair. Janet Carlisle, I've been on this committee for this term, and I think a little bit for the last one. And I was a museum curator for 25 years, and before then, I lived in the UK and taught history there. And so I've been steeped in history for too long, and now I'm becoming historic myself. So that's about it. But it's really nice to meet you. And as Harold says, the new blood is most welcome.
Thank you, Janet. And Sandra Franks.
Hello. I've been living in Almont about 6 years now. I've always been interested in the heritage aspects of any area I've lived in. I've been a volunteer member of 2 historical groups in the areas we've lived in. And I must say, this is the most interesting of them all. I really enjoy learning about the history of Almont, and we're hoping we can keep it going. So pleased to have new members, and I think I've been with you about 3 years now, so an old timer. Okay, thank you.
Thank you, Sandra. And next up, Harold McKay.
I was born here, and I've been on the committee. I got kicked off last time, but I was on the time before. So who knows, I may get kicked off again. But anyway, if I know the history pretty well of the town and of the area, So I just love heritage. I live in a heritage, or not a heritage. I live within the heritage district, I should say.
And right next to you, Nate.
Hi guys, nice to meet everybody. I also was born in the city, but raised in the area. I grew up in Pakenham. I went to school my whole life in Almont through the end of high school. I lived in the US for around 15 years up until last year, and I'm back in the area now, living here, doing a bit of real estate work locally, and hopefully going to be progressing that forward. I've always been interested in the history of the area, being from here. We have a lot of wonderful heritage and history to be proud of. Taking this as an opportunity to learn about, heritage, learn from the, current committee members, the new members, have fun with it, and hopefully make an impact.
Thanks, Nate.
Yep.
Josiah Fogarty.
Yeah, hi everyone. Yeah, glad to join. My name is Josiah Fogarty. I'm a structural engineer by profession. I work out of the city, and most of my work is in the heritage conservation sphere. I live on Ramsay 8, and yeah, I've been working kind of in the conservation engineering and architecture practice for about 10 years. Yeah, all over the National Capital Region, Ontario, and Canada wide. So yeah, really looking forward. I guess my background is a bit technical, so hopefully that's something that I'll be able to bring and contribute with. But yeah, really looking forward to. I'm not from the area originally, so looking forward to kind of learning more about the area as well through everyone.
Okay, thanks, Josiah. Last but not least, Jay Nels, who looks like he does live in the heritage home by the looks of it.
There, trying to get my mute button to work there, or unmute. Yes, indeed, we moved to the area 3 years ago and into not necessarily a heritage home by classification, but certainly by age. It's built in 1834, I believe. I just recently retired from the Armed Forces, our Royal Canadian Air Force, after 36 years of service. And now I'm a student at Heritage Carpentry in Perth, soon to be the Ottawa campus. So I'm looking forward to kind of putting some of the theories into practice. I'm married with 2 daughters, one in Halifax and one in Kincardine. I studied civil engineering in university, but my military career was largely as a pilot. So looking forward to working with and meeting all of you.
Thanks, Jay. What town do you live in? That house, that 1834 house?
It's just south of Almont on Appleton Side Road.
Yeah, where exactly?
4777, just north of Fox Hollow.
Okay.
Oh.
I'm trying to think of it. Is it the one with the long driveway?
Yes. Well, I mean, yeah, long in the winter.
Yeah. Okay.
It's set back
well,
into the road.
Thank you, everyone. And then we also, we can introduce Melanie Knight to all the people. Do you want to introduce all the staff, Melanie?
Sure, Chair. That might be the easiest. So I'm Melanie Knight. I'm the Director of Development Services and Engineering at Mississippi Mills. Drew Brennan is on the call as well. He's our senior planner. Also, you'll see him on a regular basis. And then Jennifer Russell is the Invisible Planning Department. She's sort of like the Wizard of Oz behind the curtain. So she runs the meeting, sends out the agenda. She's a lead on a lot of the heritage permits that either come to committee or we approve at the staff level. And then we also have Sally Coots, who is our heritage consultant. And Sally's been working with us for a couple of years, reviewing the Heritage Register, as well as a resource to us, to staff, a really good staff resource in terms of reviewing heritage permits or just responding to some heritage inquiries. And I think that's basically the team. There's a couple other staff members that sometimes jump on the meetings, depending on if they're on a file or not. But Sally, Drew, and I are the 3 faces you'll probably see regularly.
Yeah, thanks, Melanie. Okay, so we're going to go on to section B, disclosure of any pecuniary interest and general nature. So if there is any disclosure of pecuniary interest and general interest thereof, you can make that statement now or when the item arrives on the agenda.
I'm, with respect to Legion, I'm a Legion member, so I'll have to abstain from that.
Thank you, Harold. Perfect.
I guess I'm in the same boat.
Who said that?
That's Jay Nellis, Legion member.
I'm also a Legion member, Gary, but I do
Uh-huh.
not believe that I don't believe we have a pecuniary interest just because do have an interest because we belong to that organization, but it's not a pecuniary interest, so I don't think that we need to worry about that.
Does everyone agree with that one? Harold, I think that's great. We can go on from there because we have a lot of things to talk about today. So, so I'm going to propose a motion that the agenda be approved as presented. If there's any requests or revisions to that agenda, is there a mover and a seconder? Janet, is a mover. Seconder. Jane, thank you very much. All in favor? Thank you very much. That's approved. So the next motion is that the minutes date January 28th, 2026 be approved. Is there a seconder and a motion? So who's moving? Jane's going to move that, and a seconder. Janet, thank you. Were there any errors or omission in the minutes? Seeing none, all in favor for approval of the minutes? Thank you. That's approved. There are no delegations or presentations, so we can go on to the staff reports. I now welcome Melanie Knight, Director of Development Services and Engineering, and Sally Coots, Heritage Consultant, to present the proposed designation for 149 Church Street.
Thank you, Chair. I'm going to share my screen just to display the presentation. If I can get a thumbs up from somebody saying that they can see that, that would be great.
That's
Thank
great.
you. And so I'm going to do the presentation, and of course, Sally will be here for any questions that might come up. Most of the committee will know that we've been going through the Heritage Register the past 2 years, reviewing the properties that were on the Heritage Register and evaluating them for whether or not they meet the criteria for designation. So what's before the committee today is the property 149 Church Street, which was a former schoolhouse. And
Melanie,
yep.
sorry, can I, as a new person, can I just ask how many properties were listed on the register that needed to be evaluated?
Sure, there were 14 in total to be evaluated, and we've gone through the process. We're about, Sally just sent me an updated list, but I'm going to say we're more than halfway through the process. So we've either evaluated them and proceeded to designation, or we've actually evaluated them and they've been removed from the register.
Okay, the intention to be evaluating all listed properties before the end of 2026. Okay, great.
Correct. Yes. Yeah. So as most of the committee knows, the Heritage Register is a formal listing under the Ontario Heritage Act, and changes through Bill 23 a few years ago mandated that municipalities review the properties that are on the Heritage Register and make a decision to whether or not they should move forward for designation by the end of 2026. Once properties are removed from the register, and they can happen either because the municipality has chosen to remove them, committee and council have chosen to remove them, or we haven't finished the review of the Heritage Register in time and they just sort of automatically fall off the register. Those properties cannot be added back on for 5 years. As committee is aware, the last committee meeting we had, we looked at a designation of the Doctor's House, and that recommendation went to council for approval to issue the notice of intent to designate. So this property is located at the corner of Church and William Street. I would assume that most folks are fairly familiar with the property. But if you're not, it's generally surrounded by residential uses. The building was converted to apartments, and that's the current use. We have been consulting with property owners throughout this process, and so the property owners have come in and met with us twice. One of the discussion items that we had with the property owners was whether or not there was sort of any potential for infill or redevelopment on the property. And so the statement of cultural heritage value, you see there is a line or a paragraph in there about a certain area of development could happen at the rear of the property. So that has been included at the request of the property owners. They've been provided a draft of the statement. I don't believe that they're planning on attending today, but Jennifer will correct me if I'm wrong on that. So again, just to recap, in order for the property needs to meet a certain number of criteria in order to be designated. Sally has done her evaluation and has recommended that this property meets 6 out of the 9 criteria. So I'm just going to do a brief summary of the 9 criteria. So sorry, of the 6 that it qualifies for. So the property has design value or physical value because it is a rare, unique, representative, or an early example of a style, expression, material, or construction method. So this schoolhouse, you can see the photo on the right. Apologies, the resolution maybe isn't so great, but it is a mid-19th century schoolhouse. It does have, the typical school elements. It was built with the typical school elements. You will notice once we look at a photo of the current building that there have been some items that have been removed over time. And so that's just noted as a change. In terms of criteria 4, the property has associations with a theme, event, belief, person, activity, organization, or institution that is significant to a community. And this property really is a great example of the development of public schools in the early 1860s in Ontario. The next criteria is that the property has historical or associated value because it yields or has the potential to yield information that contributes to an understanding of a community or culture. And it really is, this school is a great representation of the growth of Almonte back in the 1860s. Including requiring, an up-to-date public school, as well as there was other institutional religious structures at that time. The property has a historic value or associated value because it demonstrates or reflects the work or ideas of an architect, artist, builder, designer, or theorist who is significant to a community. We will see Andrew Bell's name a couple of times today and probably in the future as well, but it does reflect the work of Andrew Bell, architect. And as you can see there, there's a few other properties in Almonte. The Victorian Woolen Mill is a designated property. The Merchants Bank, which is the Legion, next on our agenda, is on the register. And then the Holy Name of Mary Church is also a property that is being considered for designation. In terms of criteria 7, the property has contextual value because it is important in defining, maintaining, or supporting the character of an area. It's just a Google Street View shot on the right-hand side, in case you're not familiar with the property. But you can see it's at the corner of Church and William Streets in a residential area. It is close to our historic downtown core. It does have that historic large lot, and it's set back from the road as similar to other schoolhouses of its time. That large front yard provided a schoolyard for the students, and of course provides a lovely view of the existing building. Interestingly enough, the current property owners say that many people in the neighborhood actually use this front lawn often for picnics or kicking the soccer ball around with their children. So it seems to be quite a notable site in the immediate area. So criteria 8 is the property has contextual value because it is physically, functionally, visually, or historically linked to its surroundings. as we already noted, it is linked to its surroundings in that from the 19th century neighborhood. And it really is that central location as schools were once located in a residential area. So I'll end there, Chair, with a recommendation so the recommendation is that Heritage Committee recommend that Council issue a notice to designate 149 Church Street under Part 4 of the Ontario Heritage Act, similar in effect to the Statement of Cultural Heritage Value that's found in Attachment A of the report.
All right, thanks, Melanie. Does anyone have any questions? Jay?
Yes, thanks, Melanie. Regarding a couple of the criteria, I didn't copy down all the numbers, but are there any other related properties or registered properties in the area, given its that it was it being historically noted for the era? Are there any other properties immediately adjacent or in that area that would also help to depict that?
I might defer to Sally if she's able to answer that question, but if not, I can bring up the map as well. It might help.
Sally, you have any? Yeah.
Yes, yeah, I'm here. Sorry. I know that, and some of the committee members might also be able to help with this. I know that there is a house across the road, and then the Snedden House, which is upcoming as one of the buildings to be considered, is also up away from the downtown core at the corner of Church and forget the other road.
Country? Was it Country? Yeah.
I think so. And
Country,
certainly, even though there are, it's removed from the district and the downtown core and removed from other buildings, but the street across from it, it does have, I think, again, the Snedden House and one or two other designated houses, but it also is very much a 19th century streetscape. So even if they're not all designated, there's a relationship to them across the schoolyard, the idea of where the kids came from to go to school. It's all very clear still.
There's also a house that was on the Homes and Gardens tour, and I can't think which. I think that might be on Country Street. It was on the corner. It's all part of that era of significant buildings. I don't know whether that's on the list, Melanie, but it's the one that comes to mind. It was on the tour.
Chair, if you'd like, I can actually just share my screen. I'll just quickly just share my screen with the map. That'll give a little bit of an idea here of some of the properties around the area. So the property that's highlighted is the property we're speaking of. I'm hoping you can see my little hand moving around on the map. There's two other properties here that are both designated. This is the Snedden House that Sally referred to. And then there's a couple of other properties. Anything with shading is either designated or it's on the register. So that kind of gives an idea of the area.
Okay, thank you.
Any other questions? Jane? Councillor Torrance, sorry.
Okay, Gary. I wanted to know, Melanie, when you said the rear lot has development potential, I'm just trying to figure out is the rear lot also the front lawn? And because you've just talked about how the front lawn was kind of important to the heritage value of the place and the neighborhood value of the place, and so is it the front lawn or is it the back? Is the rear lawn? Like which one is front and rear?
Great question. I'm going to share my screen again because it's the easiest thing to do, I think, to look on the map. And I'll just zoom in a little bit here, turn off our layers so we can see the aerial view of the property. So looking at the property, the schoolhouse is here. Church Street is along here with the front lawn. And what we talked about is this area back here. So essentially from the rear wall of the building to the rear property line, there could be some potential for infill or something like that if the property owner chooses to pursue that in the future.
Thank you. That's my question.
Any other questions?
Yeah, I have a couple questions. I guess with criteria 1, the property has design value or physical value because it's rare, unique, or representative example. I know sometimes you've run into buildings maybe similar to this that are kind of repeated designs, and I think in the report it's alluded to that it's a repeated design of schoolhouses. But given it's been so highly altered, I wonder if that's affected the uniqueness or the representative nature of the building. I just wonder if you could kind of speak to that consideration.
I'll hop in there. So, yes, clearly it is not the original 1860s building that was designed by Andrew Bell, but the 1930 edition was by Richards and Abra, who were very prominent school architects in Ottawa and in Eastern Ontario. And so that, although it dramatically altered the character of the building, it still is part of the history of the school, in that Almont was still growing in the 1930s, as were other schools. Richards and Abra also did the addition to the high school in Almont. So again, it's lost its 19th century character. It acquired a 1930s very standard school character, and the fact that the stone building has this on front, I think it changes. It's not an original 1860s, but there's an amalgam of two eras in school building by two separate prominent architects, still on the same lot that speaks the same way to the neighborhood. That did not that didn't a later edition didn't render it ineligible for designation, as it still meets the criteria.
Yeah, that's great. Okay, yeah, my follow-up question was kind of, would the 1930s edition stand on its own for heritage value if it wasn't considered? And it sounds like maybe it would.
Certainly, there are other Richards and Abra schools that have met the criteria in other communities in Ottawa. The Nepean High School, I think, is now designated. And because they were a very prominent firm and they were building in the collegiate Gothic, with the multi-pane windows, and still the same principles applied to being a good school with lots of light and air, etc., that their buildings have standalone significance.
So I was wondering, I think you've maybe kind of answered this indirectly, but whether or not a designation would be limited to a certain part of the building and maybe not the principal facade, especially if there was enough primary information that the principal facade could one day be restored. And if the new facade was protected, it might limit a future restoration.
That's a very hypothetical question.
Sure,
We don't
yeah.
know. We don't know what's there behind the walls. We know the belfry's gone, the roof is gone. Probably the front wall was redone and re-stoned because it had to have all the windows. And also, the returning a building to its original for restoration is not always like the ultimate goal, because what you look at is a period of highest significance. And so you could argue that this building is significant because it has the embodiment of the two. You'd have to be able to prove that the original with the belfry and everything was more significant, and then you would be recreating something that hasn't existed for almost 100 years. So whether that's good conservation practice is an interesting question. Certainly, if you want something, like you will notice on the Legion report that comes next, there is a piece of the building that is at the rear. It's excluded. It was part of the original building, but it's been so dramatically altered that it isn't included. But I mean, as with decades of experience, if someone came to me and said they wanted to restore the 1860s building, I would be extremely dubious about whether or not it was a noteworthy thing to do, or a thing that respected current conservation guidelines. So. but you can exclude if you want to. Just
No,
to-
I'm sorry. I'm not suggesting it should be. I think especially with the basis of there being hair being its unique value in and of itself, the addition, then yeah, it would absolutely need to be very closely considered. The other comment that I had was just in the report, criteria 8, it doesn't have supporting documentation. That's the site. Like, is it linked to its surroundings? And I think someone mentioned it's kind of prominent that there's a great lawn on the front and possibility for infill development, and the more verbiage around that would help a future designation.
Sorry, I don't understand. Criterion 8? Yeah, are you meaning in the statement, the Cultural Heritage Evaluation Report?
Yeah, in the share, yeah.
Okay, so I'm just looking for that. I also want to point out that criterion is the singular and criteria is the.
Oh, sorry. Yeah.
Well, I'm just being a pedant. So I'm just sorry, I'm scrolling through to see what you mean. Because the other thing I should have said, I want to say this every time, that the Cultural Heritage Evaluation Report is a living document. So on the frequent occasions where I make a mistake, we're allowed to fix them. You just can't, because the only part that becomes the legal document is the Statement of Cultural Heritage Value. So, like, go crazy if you think I did something wrong, because we can change. These are living documents. So what did I say? Former has checked. Okay. Yeah. Yeah. It has contextual. Yeah.
For the others, you kind of had some supporting documents, and I thought maybe some sight lines or the description of the historic mapping there might be helpful for a future designation.
Right. I have a before and after. I have a photo from the turn of the 20th century,
Okay.
and then a photo below it. But yeah, I'll use more words and more illustrations next time.
Well, like you said, Sally, like, maybe this is an opportunity to, like, it's not in stone. So
Yep.
sometimes when I'll read these reports, this is the time to ask questions rather than
Yeah, absolutely.
when it's the
Absolutely.
next stage and we're fighting concrete,
Yeah. Yeah, though specifically because the front yard is mentioned, it's included, and the exclusion is the backyard. So we did that to make sure that that there wouldn't be a fight over
Okay.
the front lawn, but it can be clarified. That's a good
Makes
point.
sense.
Yeah. Thanks.
Any other questions? Okay, so we'll move on. The property owners are not here, so we can move on to the recommendation that the Heritage Advisory Committee recommends council issue a notice of intention to designate 149 Church Street under Part 4 of the Ontario Heritage Act, similar in effect to the Statement of Cultural Heritage Value in Attachment A. So we need a mover and a seconder, please.
I'll move.
Jay will move and Josiah is a seconder. All in favor? All right, it's passed. Okay, on to F2, Heritage Register proposal for the Legion, 100 Bridge Street. So oh, sorry, Jane, go ahead.
No, Gary, I'm just thinking about Harold's wanting to declare a pecuniary interest, and Jay thinking perhaps if he was just a member, and the fact that the owners of the building, the Legion, haven't really fully engaged with the process and have not responded to the correspondence. I wonder if we could have the presentation but not have the motion, and so just table this for now and then actually get some recommendations about our pecuniary interest and have a chance to push the Legion to respond to this. So we will have the presentation that's being prepared, but we delay the decision. I think that just might be a more of a comfortable way forward.
Does anyone have anything against that? No? Okay, then let's go ahead and do that. So, Melanie, take it over.
Okay, no problem, Chair. Okay. So this is the presentation for the related to the report for 100 Bridge Street, which is generally known as the Royal Canadian Legion. I won't go through this slide again because we just went through it, but this property was on our, or is on our heritage register. So in terms of the location, it is called the Merchants Bank. Historically, it was a bank. It was built in 1874, became the Bank of Montreal in 1880 until 1906. And then the Legion purchased the property in the 1940s. As Councillor Torrance indicated, we did consult with the property owners. We did not, we met with them once, and we have not heard from them since. So we haven't received a response in terms of reviewing the draft statement of cultural heritage value. I did want to highlight when we did meet with them, they did have some proposed projects that they specifically raised to discuss. You will see, I was going to start by pointing out, you will see on the image that the windows have been replaced. That happened several years ago, from what I understand. The Legion is looking towards replacing the front door. They are undertaking some waterproofing and foundation insulation work this year. They're also looking at replacing the new front steps and walkway, and then the roof on the back portion of the building, sort of towards the rear here where they have the main entrance. From what I understand, that's being proposed to be replaced as well. So we did talk to them about the timing and the designation, and if the designation were to go through, how there could be an opportunity for a heritage grant, as well as obviously some advice from our committee members and our heritage consultant in terms of what materials would be recommended for some of these projects, but we did not hear back from them. So in terms of the evaluation was completed and recommended that, and determined that the property meets 5 out of the 9 criteria. So similar to the other one, it meets criteria number 1, and that has to do with the physical features of the building. So it is an example of a second Empire style building with mansard roof that was removed after a fire in the 1950s. It does have eaves brackets, as well as you can see the detail of the windows with the stone surrounds and the keystones. In terms of criteria 4, obviously the property has associations with a theme. It was a notable bank branch back in Almonte when Almonte was emerging as an industrial town. And as well today, it is at the branch location of the Royal Canadian Legion. In terms of criteria 5, it does illustrate sort of the transformation of Almonte from that small community to the center for textile industries as Almonte grew, and that rapid growth brought increasing success, which required establishments and institutions like banks to serve the needs of Almonte and its growing industry. Again, Mr. Bell is present, makes a presence here in terms of being the architect of the building. Again, and in terms of contextual value, it is a landmark. It's well known within in Almonte, in the community. It is in a central location on Bridge Street, and again, it's close to the historic downtown core. Actually, just kind of on the edge of the Heritage Conservation District. And I will skip over the recommendation if the committee would like to just leave it at that, Chair.
Thanks, Melanie. Can you clarify, does the Legion itself own it, or is it owned by a private individual and the Legion rents it out? How does that work?
It's my understanding that the Legion does own it.
And I get the impression that they don't, I don't know, take the heritage value of it very seriously. Would that be right? If they don't show up or haven't responded?
I don't really want to speak for the Legion in that regard.
No. Okay.
Yeah.
Gary,
Well,
I
I'm
would
just-
I would say that that's not the case. I would say that it is if I think it says that they spoke to two of the heritage of the executive members. I've been on that executive before, and it's a they don't always talk to each other. We need to take this a little bit hot, like it needs to be discussed, and it often falls to the president to respond, and he's a really busy guy, you know? So I think that if we want to have full consultation with the Legion, we need to take it just a little bit deeper, and so that we do have response. They might object, they might not, and as far as I know, we can still, even if they object, we can still designate if we choose. But I would, we're a friendly town, and I would rather do this a friendly way. And I think that means that we do need to have them on board with it. So I wouldn't want to say that they are against it, because I don't think that's the case. I think it's just fallen off their radar. It's not their number one priority to think about these things.
Right. So, any questions about Melanie's?
Oh, can I
Chair,
just add?
sorry,
Oh,
go
can I
ahead.
just add something on the subject of the Cultural Heritage Evaluation Report? Somehow, and it was my fault, two very lovely historic photos were dropped from that. So I'm asking, and we're going to have them put back in. And it shows more, it's Second Empire style and character. I just wanted to go there because it was my fault. So.
You're forgetting.
Chair, I will just note, certainly have no issue with trying again to reach out to the executive board of the Legion to see if we can engage them a bit more. I will note that because of the upcoming election and the potential for there being what's called lame duck, which is limitation of council decisions, that we will be likely bringing this forward with a recommendation probably in the next meeting or the meeting after, regardless if we hear from the Legion executives, only because, as we know, we're working on that deadline. And with the upcoming election, if there is a lame duck and there's sort of a pause in council decisions, it may come down to the wire in terms of the end of 2026 and dealing with some of these properties. I just wanted to highlight that for the committee.
Melanie, what if Harold, Jay, and I, as Legion members, undertake to ask the Legion to please respond? It's maybe we're the ones that need to put the pressure on them to respond to this, and at the same time, if you could ask our clerk to please let us know what the rule, and to send it out to us, what the rules are to be able to, if we are members of that organization, should we or should we not, are we in a pecuniary interest or general nature thereof?
Yes, certainly. I will do that after this meeting and find an answer before the next meeting for sure.
So any Legion members, press the board.
Any other questions? So I think we can move on to, sorry, Sandra? Can't hear you, Sandra. Sandra's got the most confusing keyboard I think we've ever seen. Take your time.
Okay, there we go.
There
I don't know why it disappeared. Anyway, no, there was some mention in the description of some future renovation going to go on at I think it was the porch area. So I'm assuming that the Legion are fully aware of what can be done and what can't be done to heritage buildings. will that come up at a later time? I mean, we don't really know quite where the interest lies, but that is.
That's correct, Chair. So the Legion is aware of the heritage permit process. I will remind the committee that there is no fee for that process, for that application. And other than the two executive members stating that they are planning on replacing the front porch and the front door, we have no other details in terms of what that would look like or what their timing is. We did explain to them the heritage permit process. If the property was designated, that would require a major heritage permit that would go to Heritage Committee. But of course, also offered our expertise and resources that they could use in terms of that work, as well as they would be available to apply for a heritage grant as well. So
okay, thank you.
Okay, so on to F.3. Melanie Knight again will provide information on the updated statement of cultural heritage value for the Pakenham Five Arches Bridge.
Thanks, Chair. This is a little bit of a combination of a housekeeping sort of item as well as an update. So back in October of last year, committee did look at a draft statement of cultural heritage value for the five-span bridge, and at that time recommended that it be forwarded on to Lanark County to be included in the designation bylaw. And so since that time, that statement of cultural heritage value has been updated. And so the motion is before you again to pass that along. I will say that last year when we were I think it was a couple years ago, not last year. I think it was 2 years ago when we were looking at this. This recommendation actually did not make it onto the council agenda. So it was passed by Heritage Committee, but it wasn't actually passed by council. So that's the housekeeping piece of it. And then in the interim, Sally has updated the statement of cultural heritage value as well. So we figured it's a good opportunity just to bring it forward and formally pass the motion, of which we will obviously make sure it goes to council and pass along to the county if passed.
Great. So the recommendation is as follows: that the Heritage Advisory Committee recommend that council forward the updated draft statement of cultural heritage value to Lanark County for consideration as an addition to the designation bylaw 84-36, and that the Heritage Advisory Committee further recommend that council request Lanark County register both the designation bylaw and the statement of cultural heritage value on the property title. So is there a mover and a seconder?
I'll move that.
Thank you, Sandra. And Councillor Torrance has seconded. All in favor? Thank you. That's approved. There's no business arriving out of minutes. So now I'd like to pass it over to Councillor Torrance for any council business that can be shared with the committee.
I don't really have anything this time, Gary. Jennifer told me that she was going to put this agenda item onto the the agenda. We'll see this every month now, but it's the first time it's been there, and it's like, what should I update them on? And I really don't, I think that if you have any questions of a general nature of council, happy to answer them, but I think that the intent, and we can discuss it now, is to bring anything that I think you might be interested in from a heritage nature to this committee. And you'll know a couple of, I think I've been doing that by asking for things to be put on the agenda. So a couple of months ago when I asked for Pinehurst to be put on the agenda to be able to have discussion about that. But if there's anything that if I'm your conduit to council, if there's anything you want me to discuss at council, or if there's anything at council you want to know more about, I'm happy to do it. I think that I'm just going to be feeling my way through this agenda item as we move forward, because I want to be helpful And, you know, I don't know that you're interested in sewage bylaws or anything like that, you know? So what's the appropriate thing for me to share? I'm happy to take your advice on it.
Well, we'll leave it up to you. I'm sure you'll let us know. All right, then we can go on to number I.1. There were two articles in the agenda package and an email sent out earlier, which contained a survey for the future of the Register of Historic Places. And I understand that they're stopping that register, but it sounded to me like they were starting a new one. It was going to be in a different place. Does anyone have any questions or comments about that attachment? It didn't sound like anything was changing. It was just shutting down the one to present another way.
Maybe I would just, and maybe Sally knows more, but in my work, I'm exposed to this a little bit. I'd say it's not clear what the next step will be for the register at the moment.
No.
Sally, you're muted, yeah.
There is a lot of concern in the heritage community about the loss of the register. It's something that I use all the time. Like when I was doing the school, I looked at designated schools across the country. So the hope is that it will move from Parks Canada, where it is, and maybe to Canadian the foundation. But it's not at all clear. There is a letter going around that's a petition to ask for it to find a safe place. I don't know whether I didn't look at the whole package. I don't know whether that's there. Certainly,
No,
I
it's
could
not.
I could forward that. I don't know what the deadlines are to raise your voices, but that would be useful. I should have picked up on that. Yeah, so it's an incredibly valuable resource, and part of the what Parks Canada said is that it was so obsolete they couldn't bring it up to date. But there is a thought that somebody out there could actually get it back on a platform somewhere, find a host place for it. So I think it is a bit of a challenge, but the hope is that it will happen. But I'll send Melanie the petition, or Gary the petition, just for information.
All right, Sally. Thank you. Yeah, send it to Melanie and she can, I guess, disseminate it. Right.
Okay.
So are there any comments from the committee regarding any of the other articles in the newsletter that was sent out? Councillor Torrance?
Well, I thought it was great, Gary, that they had the dates of the next conference in the end of June. So we should put that on our radar, and just for everybody to know that this committee does have a small budget, and if anybody wants to go to the conference, they can. It's I think it was June 20th, 21st, or
Yes, that's
I can't.
exactly
Yeah.
it. In
Anyway,
Hamilton.
yeah, I thought it was down in Brockville, Gary.
No, it's Hamilton this year.
Okay. Gary, is that where we saw those gardens in that other anyway, sorry, I'm mixing things up. But anyway, I'd also said if you want to host the next conference, let us know. Should we think about hosting the next conference? It could be a good thing, you know. I just wanted to put it out there that if we're at all interested in that, we should put our name forward.
Like you don't have enough work there, Councillor Torrance.
You want to know what, Gary? It's like, well, let's showcase our town. You know, we've got such great such great stuff going on here. You know, and I think that it would be a really nice place to have a conference. I don't know what I think that it would be some work for the building department, the planning department. So I think there would be Melanie. She was the one who crossed her eyes when I said that.
Maybe you have some volunteers in the committee who would help out.
Yeah. Well, Melanie, maybe you might like to talk to Tiffany and see if you think that as Tiffany being our cultural coordinator, and maybe Susan Law as our event coordinator, maybe together you might think that it would be a good idea for us for our heritage committee to put our name forward. We can't leave it all to staff. We would have to help with this, you know. But it would be kind of fun to do it.
Is there would there be any budget for something like that though? From the town? Because
I think we'd have to ask other committees how they do it. I think it should be cost neutral in that you'd probably charge a small fee, you know, for registration to be able to cover whatever costs you're going to have, so that it is cost neutral. There's always budget needed for staff. So look at how many staff there are right here. And you might think that this meeting isn't costing us anything, but it is because of the staffing component.
Okay, so sorry, Jay.
Sorry, I was going to ask if we could move on to another item within the newsletter.
Yes, of course, go ahead.
Okay, yes, page looks like 4-5 talks about a housing grant. And in it, it suggests or recommends that your municipal council pass a resolution supporting the proposed Heritage Helping Housing Grant. I'm wondering, is Mississippi Mills part of that recommended group, or is it something that we would like to propose be considered?
Melanie?
The housing grant.
I'm refreshing my memory of reading the newsletter when I first got it.
So yeah, the purpose of the grant is, so it's the Architectural Conservancy of Ontario. Looks like there's $10 million available in up to $100,000 chunks. But it seems that a condition of the grant being that the council supports the resolution.
Yes, and it appears that it would have to be included in the 2026 Ontario budget. So it would be sending something from Heritage Committee or Council to the province, it looks like.
I didn't read the newsletter closely enough, Jay. I'm sorry, I'm not commenting because I didn't read it. So I'll go back and look at it though.
Yeah, from what I saw, sorry, Jay. From what I saw, there was, if you had a heritage building, that, and the example they put was they convert a heritage building into condos or something. And yeah, my question was, do we have any heritage buildings that are empty that could be used for that? That was simply my question. Do we have any empty heritage buildings in the township? Sally?
It's not, it's not, sorry, I just was scanning it again too. It's underutilized, not empty. So it could be, you know, if there's a store there's a 3-story building and with retail at grade and nothing above, then that would be underutilized, not empty. Anyway.
And can it be in a heritage conservation district like our downtown instead of designated? So I would think that that means our downtown qualifies.
Yeah, absolutely.
So do we have it, Melanie? Do you know if we have any of those buildings? Yeah, we do.
Certainly they would come and go, right? Underutilized buildings can come and go quite frequently, right? If you know, a downtown business vacates a spot or upper level, it appears that it's obviously encouraging housing. So it'd be looking at the, you know, establishment or intensity, you know, increasing the intensity of residential units on a property, either within an HCD or an individually designated property.
But would a developer, would they be the one that was getting this grant, not the town?
It appears so that the grant would be something that,
I think a condition of the grant is that it's written into the council or the municipality that these funds would be used.
Into the 2026 one?
Looking forward into it a little bit further, Melanie.
yes, I mean, certainly if the committee is interested, we could look into this a bit further and perhaps propose a recommendation on the next Heritage Committee agenda. I do note that they say try to get your resolutions passed and letters sent by March 13th, which is pretty close. from today. And if we do it on
9 days
April,
away.
if we do it in April, we're going to miss that mark, but it doesn't hurt obviously to send it anyways. But that's definitely something we could look at and put on the agenda, a recommended motion on the agenda for next committee.
Melanie, if this committee is recommending to council to pursue this, can we put a time-sensitive motion on the next council agenda to be able to pass this?
I think that's possible. So I'm turning my head because I'm looking at my calendar.
Yeah.
It could be possible if committee wants to pass a motion to direct staff to do that. I certainly can action that item.
Or is it something we can do for this meeting itself?
That's what
What
we're
do you say?
saying, Jay.
We have to do it. We have to do it now. So the recommendation would be that the committee endorse because I think that's what Jay, you were saying first, that we have to endorse this recommendation through the Heritage Committee.
Well, the exact wording from the letter is have your municipal heritage committee recommend that your municipal council pass a resolution supporting the proposed Heritage Helping Housing grant. So I would maybe cut and paste that from the newsletter right into our minutes. And it's to be followed by a letter from your mayor and council to the premier expressing their support.
Okay, but we need to do something now, right? So we need a motion now. So you're saying that you want the town.
Gary, I'll
yeah.
just help you with this procedurally.
Yes,
Ask
please.
Jay if he'll make that a motion. Just if he's moving it, all you have to do is find a seconder. He's moving that motion. He just said a cut and paste of that motion, and that's
Oh, I see. Okay. So, Janet, are you moving this motion? Yes. So all we need is a seconder. Jay, all in favor? Thanks, Councillor Torrance. That was my quick idea. Okay. Okay, so let's move on because this is dragging on a little bit. Heritage Advisory Committee Spring Walking Tour. The committee to discuss the date and location of the Heritage Advisory Committee Spring Walking Tour. So does anyone have any possible date or location of this event? Springtime, downtown, I'd say. April, our next meeting is the first Wednesday in April. I'm just looking. So it would be the 1st or the 8th, right?
Chair, it's April 1st is the next meeting in April. Can I offer a
Yes.
suggestion?
Please.
That if the committee would like to have a spring walking tour of downtown, myself and Michael have done that before. So I certainly, if you'd like, I can reach out to Michael and find out if April the 1st would work for him, or perhaps maybe a better date. We can go from there if you like. We can advise the committee if April 1st is a go, or we can maybe look at the May date. The May date might have a little bit more certainty in terms of weather. Who knows what Mother Nature is going to throw at us.
And would we then stop at the Textile Museum and have our meeting there in
We
person?
could do that, or we could meet right where I am in Old Town Hall. We could end the meeting there and here and have the meeting here as well. So a couple of different options.
Okay, well, I think maybe we could make the proposal to do it on May the 6th, which I believe is the next one. So why don't we make that a proposal for the next May 6th?
Sure, and
May
then
6th.
perhaps
Yeah.
I can report back to the committee on the April agenda, just confirm the date.
Wonderful.
I'll reach out to Michael.
Wonderful. So the next Heritage Advisory Committee is scheduled for April 1st. Sorry. We have a motion that the meeting be adjourned at 5:02 p.m. Is there a mover and a seconder? Janet, thank you. And Jay seconded. All in favor? Thank you all for a wonderful meeting. The
Well
meeting is
done,
adjourned.
Gary. That was great. You did a good
I found this
job.
out 13 minutes before we started, so I was like, oh no.
You
Anyways,
did a really great job.
thanks for putting up with
Very
me.
good job.
Okay. Bye, everybody.
Bye, guys.
Bye.
Bye,
Nice
guys.
meeting you all.